a lot of times when the big games are on, Rangers have not had the bottle to go and see it out. We saw it last season when they got to position near the top of the league, bottled it. They've seen it against Celtic in games when they've been 2-0 down, and all of a sudden they spark into life and they've had a spell of pressure and got a goal back, and then bottled it. So any time the pressure's up, when the pressure's off, Rangers can play. When the pressure's off and the game's open, they can play. When it's on and they have to perform, they've been found wanting. So that's a mentality thing, and that's what gets back to what I'm saying about away from home and in the big games in Scotland. They haven't shown the mentality to cope with these situations when they have to go and win a game under pressure, and that's where they are going at this cup final, and that's the danger for them.
So what do you think happens next, Mick? I've kind of put my head on the block there. I reckon that Patrick Stewart, the new chief exec, starts work on the 16th of December, the day after the cup final at Hampden. And I think the first thing that he's going to have to address is the manager's future or lack thereof. That's what I see happening. As I said, if he somehow survives and they give him a bit more rope, I think he's only got 4 more games before Celtic are back at Ibrox. And if he loses a cup final and then loses at home in the league, he can't carry on into the second half of the season.
If that scenario, and also they've got Spurs in there as well, Europa League that week as well. It's a difficult period for the manager in circumstances, any circumstance, but especially now. You got to think if it doesn't go well in the cup final, you got to think day one, the first issue on the agenda and the first board meeting, the new CEO is right. Call on the manager, shake his hands, and wish him all the best, and put out a statement, wish him the best for the future.
And by the way, who gave him that contract extension?
Aye, and it's plant pot under the arm and the box under the other arm in the car park time. Listen, I don't think the cup final is a formality, as big a formality as you're thinking, Keith. Listen, form book, it looks pretty straightforward, but it is a cup final. Weird things can happen.
Don't go with the form book that goes out the window. Just look at Brendan Rodgers' record in charge of Celtic versus Rangers games.
Yeah,
that tells you the form book. That cliche no longer stands.
The cup final last Scottish Cup final last May was a pretty tight affair. I think Rangers found a way to kind of almost treat Celtic like a European game in that game, and they caused Celtic a problem. All right, it didn't work out from the end. So I suspect they might try and do something similar because they don't have the kind of the home impetus to go and attack. I think they could try and play it almost like a European game. So I still think if Rangers are capable of doing that in Europe, they're capable of giving Celtic a game on any given day. And Celtic can have a drop off and a bad day at the office. So I don't think it's a complete fait accompli. Listen, I'm not putting any money on that happening. Don't get me wrong. So, but the likely scenario is that it's not going to go particularly well for Clement and Rangers. And in day one, the new CEO can win a lot of support amongst the support and amongst the fans by making a big decision that hasn't been made, that could quite easily made it at several points in the last 2 months, probably. And
he comes with a bit of clout, this guy, Mick. He comes with a lot of experience, a bit of clout. He's viewed as a very, astute, serious operator, yeah. Patrick Stewart. So therefore, and by the way, he's been around a club which has had problems appointing a decent manager for a period of time. So he knows what it looks like when a manager's struggling.
They appointed quite a lot of decent ones, just that they completely ruined them.
Yeah.
I don't think you can cut the cast of managers through that door at Old Trafford. I mean, they're pretty decent CVs.
But the point being, as a chief executive, I think he will have enough experience now to realise that there comes a point where, in order to cement your own position and cement your own credibility in the role which is just taken over, you have to make some big decisions. Because the doing nothing approach is the thing that seems to be irritating Rangers fans the most.
See, I said last week on here that it's like coming out to work the first day with a big bag of donuts. Day one.
See, to play devil's advocate, though, Keith, can you think of, or either of you, can you remember an Old Firm Cup final where there's been such a big underdog that's triumphed and won? Because I mean, I certainly can't think of it.
This is what I'm saying. This is the first time, and I've been doing this for quite a few years, where I've used the term, it would be freakish for a result to go a certain way and for one of the teams to win. It's never been like that. I have never felt like that. But obviously, when Rangers were down the leagues and going through that awful experience.
They beat Celtic in a semi-final. A handyman on the
I was going to say, Mick, they still managed to do that.
Yeah.
So no, this would be the first time that you would look at it and go, that would actually constitute a freakish result. So no, I don't think. I can't remember a time where I felt the gap is just as evident as it is right now.
Let me fire through some of the comments that have been sent in, guys, because there has been quite a strong reaction to your Colin Keith. Jackie Lang says 5 steps ahead, try 105 steps. Clement is still trying to convince Rangers fans that he is a single toenail away from playing sexy football. Willie Monaghan, it shows the important signing the most important signing a club can make is the manager. Celtic's last 2 appointments, Big Ange and Brennan, have been terrific. There are, of course, better managers in football. Rangers really need to do their due diligence on the next manager at Ibrox. It will take an exceptional appointment to seriously challenge Rodgers at Celtic. Rangers Easy OK saying, I can't remember the last time I went to Ibrox or I'm lucky enough to get tickets for away games where I've actually enjoyed us watching. The play is chronic.
That's what I've been saying.
There speaks the customer.
No, that's what I've been saying. That they're boring the life, but the anger is there obviously with the performances, but it's now boredom and complete apathy because it's been torturous to watch for them.
But this is the difficulty, the point of difference, Michael, is that they'll kind of huff and puff and they're not very happy and they're certainly not enjoying it. But if they're turned over on the big stage in a cup final by Celtic on the back of this winless run of Old Firm matches that Clement has put together, that's the turning point. I think you'd find the apathy very quickly turn back to anger again after that.
Mm-hmm.